Hello, everyone, and welcome on back to ILIAD Esports. Here on the ILIAD Esports channel, we got a banger of a series coming up for you. Once again, ILIAD ARTEMIS step up to the plate to see if they can take down the competition just as soundly as we saw mere 2 days ago. ILIAD ARTEMIS take on Daystar in today's matchup in this Masters Division series. First 2-3 as per usual, and also as per usual, D-Lo here on the mic. We have our friends Headrammer and Hippie, our almighty eyes in the sky. Just ahead of time, please make sure to thank our production for all they do. And a big thank you, as always, to our good friend L.A. Smurth for having us on this channel. Now, again, it's going to be Daystar coming up with our matchup here today, but I do want to call attention to the fact that ARTEMIS have had a great week so far already. A 3-0 sweep up against Amplify, where there was a couple stumbles, sure, but overall, they kept their eye on the prize, right? Amplify had a few C9s. We saw a few moments where the focus just wasn't being placed correctly on that objective. It cost them big, ARTEMIS. They remained focused, attentive, lethal at all times in the game, and their reward was justly so. Getting those brooms and mops, sweeping the competition away. Daystar might be a bit of a tougher order to do the same thing. The seeding here so far is pretty tight. We have ARTEMIS at third across the entire division. However, they have played one more game than Daystar, likely due to some scheduling issues. We have ARTEMIS standing at 5-2, Daystar 4-1. The ratio in favor of the latter, but nonetheless, the experience from ARTEMIS, the momentum, thanks to that sweep, might just be in their pockets instead. Daystar are currently inside the 5th to 7th category, battling up from that 5th slot, trying to work into the top 4 that ARTEMIS are already claiming. And who indeed from ARTEMIS is going to be claiming that top spot? It's the same roster you come to know and love. We've come to see prior as well. And man, did they bully and beat back the competition last go around. We'll be seeing their names shortly. But that roster is one that you certainly have got to fear. I'm talking about Duck. I'm talking about Payne Correa, who had a lights-out performance on the Tracer last go-around. Maverick doing the do with all the dive tanks that they be operating on. Industrial as well as Mardox. Industrial took a bit of sabbatical in that last round, was replaced, but nonetheless played the Lucio very, very well up until that point. They're rotated out. But hey, Daystar, they're no slackers. They're no slouches. Can't underestimate them as well, as they will be led by a top roster of their own. There's a good reason they're 4-1. We cannot underestimate our opponents. We deserve to give them their flowers. That's manually up on top. Talisman, Dion, Narwhal, and Graveyard. Trying to add some more tombstones to the cemetery plot. But as always, the maps are going to begin mapping, and it's going to be Control to start things off. And what more would you expect from our good friends in ILIAD ARTEMIS then to make sure that we head to the same scenic destination? A Jet 2 holiday, if I've ever seen one, it's going to be Ilios. Now, Ilios, of course, has got some advantages for ARTEMIS. You think about who they operate pretty well on. I'm thinking Industrial is going to be back on that Lucio. I'm thinking Payne Correa is probably going to be on the Tracer. Unless we see Ruin's first map, could indeed go the Widow then. Hero bands coming at you to see what we want to take off the board. ARTEMIS have the first hand and first casualty on the strike list is going to be that Baptiste, actually. Not a support we got to see played at all by ARTEMIS, so unsurprising that they would decide to strike it off the map. Take something that you feel like Daystar might be confident on, that you really don't care to play. Good strategy. Can't blame you for it. Also leaves open the fact that you can't ban away the Lucio. So Industrial can remain nice and safe, operating that pick throughout the entire map. Daystar for their hand. Maybe behind the Tracer. You know how good Payne Correa is on that pick. You don't want to see yourself lose that 1v1 that we did see Amplify kind of getting a bit lost in the mire of last go around. Sometimes, if you know the effectiveness of a pick, you don't want to relinquish it, even when you're losing the Ditto. If that Ditto's got a choice band, sometimes you got to recognize, hey, it outspeeds. It's going to OHKO. Maybe we need to pivot. But Daystar are taking their time, as they should be. This is an important series. Could very well decide the path their seeding takes from this point forward. Artemis are, in this sense, the big bad bullies, beating down on the underdogs. Daystar trying to live to see the next day. Whether or not Artemis give them the same treatment we saw doled out to Amplify, only time will tell. That being said, hope y'all are doing well on your Friday evenings. Commendation to you. Instead of being out hitting the bottle partying and in the streets and the bars, you're back here supporting your good friends in ILIAD Artemis. We salute you. Daystar on their side, man. They're wishing on their lucky stars that they could find the right ban. Freya is an interesting option as well if they want to go, but it does seem offense is indeed the plan. Taking off that Genji that we've seen Duck favor towards quite a bit. Pain also operates rather well on it. Not only that both DPS can do some work, as well as the fact that you don't have that Baptiste lamp to keep you safe from the blade. A common counter, and thus we'll counter it back. What does that mean? Tracer. That's what that means generally. Let's take a sweeping look at the vistas, the rocky shores, the pristine marble. Quite the view. If I were to vacay anywhere of the Overwatch maps, I'd say Ilios is probably top 3. Maybe even top 2. Might even just be the top. I love the blue. Look at that cloudless sky. Look at that amazing azure of the rooftops. Look at that steep drop-off. That means instant death for anyone who gets pooped off it. Ain't that romantic? Take your significant other over there. I'm sure it's a trip they'll never forget. Look at the yawning abyss that exists in the middle, leading to horrors unknown. Makes me want vacation early. I'll tell you that much. But summer's about to be over anyway, folks. Squeeze out the last drops of dew and sunshine you can. Daystar might be about to face the long night. First round will be on well. Might be tossing a coin down there. If you're on Daystar's side to slow that momentum that Artemis come in with. I think this map's going to be very important for that reason. Artemis have that passive buff. But with that buff can sometimes come a bit of a nerf as well. Hubris, arrogance, pride cometh before that long fall down the well. Best to make sure you're ready for what might be dished back out at you.
Ready for battle.
I was told to expect this one to maybe go the distance. First to 3 means plenty of potential. Double Lucio, double Hazard. Nothing unexpected. The double Freya as well. Same exact compositions we saw implemented last time we were on this map. Wait a second. Shift. Graveyard. Says, wait, my roster pick was actually on the Zen.
3,
Gotta make good on those optics.
1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Oh, never mind. All right, Graveyard. Juke me, why don't you? Pain Correa on the Tracer. Just what you'd expect. POV of Maverick. Loves this Hazard. Leads it fearlessly in a battle. A violent leap on forward right into the wall. And good damage already on top of the tank while being dished out some back. Complete trust in Mardox is what keeps them up. Industrial unfortunately booped down to death by Narwhal in the first blood. Goes to Daystar with that, control the point too. Damage doled out. Pain Correa pays them back for their transgressions against the Lucio. And Duck wins their 1v1 from the grave. Graveyard with the counter on top of Pain Correa. We'll say Mardox. Great heals, great Suzus. Not too many E-limbs in their last series. And sometimes that can be a massive difference maker. Already look at the ult charge built up by Graveyard. 80 to Mardox's 70. Every tick counts. Daystar took over to 20. Artemis looking for a way in. It's up over top. Look for that Freya. Mardox does take down Narwhal. Makes me eat my words while Narwhal eats the kunai. Duck, though, is shot down. Alpha's got Pulse Bomb. Potentially reverse the flow. Quarter of the point is gained. Artemis once again. Gotta focus on the whole enchilada. Focus on that objective. Quick TP up top. Sends that Kiriko back to safety manually. Unfortunately, could not find that similar refuge. Rooted down and erased by Marnox. Point, though, still contested. Stalling for as much time as possible. But it does seem Artemis will be able to nab it once Dion is shot down. 56% built up. A respectable amount. Maverick holds the front lines down. Pulse and Ebola. And a Pulse and Ebola. Who uses these DPS ultimates better is what will decide everything. Industrial says nothing needed to be decided. You're dead. Great kill on a talisman. So far, these Freyas have really had eyes for no one but each other. Being the players who will use that verticality a bit more than anyone else, it's only natural. The first head they see peering over the rooftops to shoot with those bolts. It's gonna be their doppelganger. Speaking of, Tracer 1v1, Paincore tries to apply the kiss of death with the backhand. Doesn't find a home. Instead, Maverick finds one 6 feet under. Narwhal and Dion working together beautifully there. Manuel finishes off an extra 2. Make it a 3-piece. And a near team kill there. Without many resources expended whatsoever, just the downpour there from Dion. Daystar back to the original programming. And already you can tell this set is going to be tighter. Artemis, the question we posed to them, can you maintain the momentum? Might have found the immovable object, but Paincore forces Talisman aside with a well-placed pulse bomb. Talisman had used theirs too. That feels rough. Back to the fray quickly though. ILIAD Artemis have got to press. Sound barrier, as well as Kitsune charge available on both sides, and they will both be used crisscross. Maybe shouldn't have jaywalked, Dion. You got flattened. The bola blows up Duck, and Paincore will have Narwhal's head. Manually up over top. Maverick recognizing their value. Stays safe for a bit longer for Industrial to apply the healing before they go back in and slice manually apart. Point retaken there by Artemis. And precious time bought. 2 ultimates to 1. Maverick quickly blows out one on top of Dion and finishes the job. They're staggering these death timers beautifully. 80 for Artemis. Paincore already nearly back at the pulse bomb. And Duck going to reach that bola first at this pace. Said the DPS ultimates need to count. Paincore made sure it's got value. Sound barrier comes through to save Maverick. No, it can't. Narwhal instead takes him down. Back cap. Will be able to reach just at OT, but only 5% left. Maverick's got to get back quick. And Artemis aren't sure if they should put all 10 toes down. They have to. 99.99. Industrial's dead too. A sound barrier comes through from Narwhal. Top of the oceanic food chain, Paincore and Duck both gonna find themselves sleeping with the fishes. It's a scramble for safety, something that Maverick just cannot find. And Daystar clear the boards, throw down a penny into the wishing well. Wish granted. Round 1 victory is yours.
Score 0.
That was an impressive first round. That unfortunate loss of Maverick cut off from the rest of the team. I'm not sure if the sound barrier even got applied, but if it was, it certainly didn't last long. A tragic result when you consider how hard Artemis fought, but at the very least, they didn't go down sad. That might be the kind of loss that lights a fire beneath you, rather than sending you into the dismal declines
5, 4,
of negativity and pessimism.
2, 1.
Off to the races again. Lighthouse this time.
The objective.
War never changes. Neither do these comps on Ilios. And neither does the amazing spectating there from Hippie and Headrammer. Shadow Production. Manually making these corners like we're playing CS. Peeks Banana. Got the op. Can you make him drop? No kills just yet, but still able to force back Artemis. There's the first one to fall. Graveyard takes him down with the headshot. Again, I'm really going to note the fact that Graveyard and Mardox do have quite a lot riding on their shoulders. A Kiriko that's able to also operate a bit more as a DPS. It's one of the scariest threats. You hit those headshots. You find those precise pinpoint blows. Things will start to domino in your favor. Industrial. The next one to fall in the chain reaction. Dion maybe. Bit overextended. Suzu will be their rescue. I really love how manually he's playing this high ground. Very difficult to dislodge them unless we find some carefully placed shots. Paincore certainly can't reach there easily, and Mardox, because they're not finding those kunai where you want, it's really going to be up to Duck and Map. Speak of the devil. And Dion will be making a visit down there too, to the underworld. Duck takes them down. And finally Maverick, able to try to at the very least force some space. Pulse Bomb now available for Talisman. Bola takes down Industrial. Manually can do no wrong. Mardox will fall as well as soon as they drop down the Kitsune Rush. And manually able to survey the battlefield. Clear. Daystar giving us a good reason to argue that they should be near the top of the leaderboards. Duck, unfortunately, blows wide with the Bola. Dion with a violent leap. Comes down with a bird in hand. It's worth two in the bush, I hear. Manually. Taking that high ground. Kitsune Rush this time from the hands of Graveyard. Dion's got the downpour ready too. Paincore might be where the hopes are lied. 85% built up unopposed by Daystar. Far more dominant than in map 1, or round 1 rather. Dion holds up their walls, holds up their spiky shield, able to retreat to the back line? No. Maverick hunts them down to the ends of the earth, but what have you lost focus on? Overtime barely achieved, and finally manually will fall. That's going to be an automatic victory over the point. They got an awful lot of time to work back from. 3 ultimates to 2. Manually about to have theirs. Need to see Paincore be precise with these pulses. Fine. Certain victory. Unfortunately, instead, manually, precisely places those cross-pulled shots to ensure Paincore can't even use that ult. Sound Barrier is the response, but it won't be too late. Maverick already sustained all the damage from the shield. Mardox is dead. Maverick gets lighted out. And these shots from the Freya. No magic needed to guide these missiles. At will, they seem to find every single fleshy point they're trying to reach. Paincore is the next one to go. A pulse bomb off the mark. And quickly, the Embers of Revolt are stamped out. Daystar take map 1. We asked the question about momentum. This was a lot more than a speed bump. This is a flat tire. No opposition there. Manually gets your MVP. Look at their aim. Beautiful tracking. Bola goes wide. Who cares? If your precision is that good with the rest of your strikes, the rest of your shots, miss as many bolas as you want. It's just a warning shot. First one's above your head, next one's between the eyes. And that is the risk you take when you go with the duos. When you go with the duo dittos. You might end up getting the worst end of the stick. Pointy one in this case. I just feel like there was such a hard time dislodging manually, and honestly, Dion ended up being a great red herring. A lot of pressure was being placed on taking down that hazard when maybe we should have just been focusing on taking down that Freya instead. Maybe we need to switch off the Tracer. Grab a Cassidy? Something that was capable, because Paincore was not looking as good that second round. That's unfortunate to say, but Map's coming back at you in a second to see what we could regain here. And it does seem we're going to Dorado, Golden City, for a golden opportunity back in the game. I always like me some payload as a second map to kind of loosen up, right? Very static for control. So let's get that blood flowing in our muscles once again. Because Artemis, they know better than anyone how good it feels to build that momentum, how good it feels to crush their enemy beneath the boot of a solid sweep. Now maybe they need to get a bit of a taste of their medicine to wake up and recognize we got to play this harder. Hero bands coming at you. Does seem Artemis are tearfully gonna have to part with a favorite of Mavericks. No Goose, no Mav. He's top gunned out. Hazard's off the map. That's sad. But it's also understandable. If you're saying that, listen, man, I was kind of getting the ring around the rosy there. Even when Dion dies, it takes way too much time for me to knock them out. Understandable. Does leave open a ban on the supports. But at the same time, I don't know, Narwhal's playing pretty gosh darn well on that Lucio. I don't think they're necessarily inclined to take that away. The Genji's likely going to be back, so what do you want to knock out? What other pillars are there? Tracer here, I was about to say, probably not likely. Instead, Kiriko is where they decide to allot their restriction. I'm not mad at that, but I'm also not really convinced that's necessary. Either way, you have to pick something, right? So maybe just make Mardox feel uncomfortable, which already seemed to be a bit off kilter. Baptiste now available, though.
Ready for battle.
And the player is now set. The die is cast. ILIAD Artemis start off on offense. And now this is worrisome if you ask me. I'd much rather the team that just took a hard loss be on defense. Nothing feels worse than being held at spawn on payload. This is not the easiest map to do so, but that choke under the arch can be a frustrating place to see your dreams dashed against the wall. Daystar have wished on a star. They've wished in a well. They want this sweep. Artemis have got to do a bit of a better job making sure they can't have it. Bang Corray and Talisman stick to the Tracers. And hot and cold. I feel like no one's really won this matchup decisively. Mobutu is stepping up instead of Duck. So sub comes in, the Reaper guns come out. And the Winston from Dion to match Maverick's Diva. Obviously not favorable. That defense matrix not going to be doing you all that much good. For Gita as well. Spells the same story, and an anti-nade spells Mobutu's doom. Manually around the corner. Tries to smoke out any resistance that exists inside the building, but the matrix can keep you safe for a bit longer. Mardox on the Moira now. So you have a lot of safety, you have a lot of sustain and autonomous resources between Mobutu's Reaper form, the Wraith, and Mardox being able to phase away. Talisman, unfortunately, can't do the same. Bane Corray takes him out. The back line looking for the Freya. And he's got that bull already. This is pretty solid damage, and Mobutu will fall. Mardox able to barely stay alive. A nano there for Dion. They crash down, and Mardox has made a fine paste beneath those gorilla feet. Drives them all the way back to Kingdom Come. Artemis will not have that first point just yet. Mobutu on the switch. Locks in that Sombra. Be impactful, who you're looking for. Wouldn't mind to see him take down that Ana. Least mobile. Easiest to spray down in theory. But instead it's Mardox being torn asunder, ripped limb from limb. Dion retreats back to their friendly fire, but they have to make sure to step back up to save that Ana. Great body blocks, and great damage now being output by Mobutu and Bane Corray. That sound barrier keeping them all safe. The Coalesce, making sure the enemies are erased. Still some distance to go though. Winston watches the ramparts. D.Va tries to clear out scouting party to ensure no one can step up to contest. Contest they will, though. Talisman's got a pulse. They got heals, too. Dion's already dead. Great work by Mamutu. Pulse bomb ready. But Wendy decided to let it drop before the body falls instead. Narwhal takes down Pancray at the same time as Talisman dies. Industrial falls as well. Brigitte is hacked, but she's going to whack you right back. Maverick shoots them down. Shouldn't have brought a cudgel to this gunfight. And Mabutu instantly proves why this Sombra was the right call. Winston takes to the stars. First point secured by Artemis. Mabutu is doing a pretty solid job on the Sombra. Keep an eye on their flanking routes. See who they're targeting first in these fights. Talisman staying with the bulk of the team. Quick drop down though. Looks for Pancray. No one can quite finish the job though. But I like that communication. Talisman gets him down to 50. You can see Daystar's team instantly try to direct their attentions to finish the job. That's cohesion right there. Manually trying to be kept safe there as their little guard dog, Narwhal. And Manuel doesn't really seem to need one. Taking down one already, Industrial will fall, but Maverick with jump jets. Finally puts down manually. And Anti wheels the Sombra's end. Dion is the trade. Daystar on the worst end of things so far. Artemis continue to march forward. And Anti ready, but no monkey there to receive it. That next bend secured by Artemis. Talisman can just try to stall for a bit of time. Be a bit of a bother. 3 ultimates to 2 in favor of Daystar. Pulse is once again gonna be a point of contention. Manually retains low ground with the rest of the team. Winston goes up top. Industrial's got the sound barrier ready. Support ultimates, I think, are going to be a massive boon to each of these teams if Graveyard can use the right time. Get that Nano Rampage. And the Rampage does begin. No Nano. Graveyard keeps that in tow. A sound barrier is the response. Ult for ult. Pulse Bomb. Stuck oh so perfectly. Mardox gets sent to Kingdom Come. Dion can take down Industrial, and that fight's been cracked open like a nut. No supports, no heals, no friends, no Pancray. Minute left. Now the cart can slowly be wound beneath that arch. A frustrating choke to have to fight through twice. EMP is ready. Mabutu leads the charge. Buys their time. They don't quite know that they're there just yet. D.Va joins them on the rafters. And the fight's taken to the rooftops. Trying to force through with the Coalesce. A dash back to cover. Brigitte able to stay alive for now. Mardox cannot find as much value as they want, but they do guarantee space. Can you save Pancray? Answer is yes. Narwhal's got rally ready. EMP won't eat through that, but lasers and the bottle rockets certainly do. Manually, it's absolutely blown up. Talisman, though, does find Industrial in the back line. EMP allows the D.Va all the space they want, but a great anti puts down Pancray. D.Va bomb not going to matter for all that much when Talisman blows Mardox back to high hell. Maverick falls too. And with 8 seconds left, it does not seem that Artemis will be able to find their way to the second point. Mabutu with a respectable attempt translocates right back into death. Pancray will join their DPS duo there. Industrial makes the effort, but they'll make the long trip back to base. Daystar put up a hell of a defense.
Score 0-1.
I think what we're seeing here is, again, an issue of cohesion. It's a very simple thing to talk about, but it oftentimes is what spells your doom. These ultimates are filtering in at times where it doesn't seem like we need them all too much. I think about that Coalesce, honestly, from Mardox. Not too much value found there. Were we at the brink? Were we really in a point where not only were we threatened, but we could threaten. A dash back to safety, and instantly, Manually and Narwhal were just fine. Had reached cover where the Coalesce beam couldn't find anyone. That's unfortunate for an ultimate that impactful. But they still made some progress that Daystar have got to repeat. 9-0. That's assist. I always forget that's assist. 9-2.
Keep in sight.
There for Payne Correa. That's dang impressive. There's got to be more. Mobutu makes the call to finally go on this Cassidy. I'm happy to see this. Manually has been a really big issue. Graveyard low-key as well. Again, no matter what pick you put this support player on, they're finding elims. I think we saw an anti claim a life at least 4 times. I feel like generally it's 4 more times we see Marduk's doing without the aid of an ultimate. Baptiste now is the response. Not sure how I feel about that up against a Winston, who in their ultimate, when you really want to be using those lamps, can easily push you out of its healing and saving graces. Maybe they'll make a liar out of me. Narwhal says, get away from that health pack. Not going to be able to, unfortunately, play keep away for long. Don't gatekeep your health packs. That's just rude. What spot is this? Oh, you wouldn't know about it. It just exploded, actually. So did Manually and Dion. Maverick and Mardox do the fusion dance to ensure death for 2 members. They start having a hard time finding their way out to safety. Mobutu nearly put down the moment they stepped out of spawn. Mardox playing this corner. Gotta be careful about Diana. Knows their game. Despite the fact that Mardox still can threaten at range, be a bit more of an issue there for that Freya. Drop down the Amp Matrix in response to the dive from the Winston. Maybe a bit late, though. We'll find the kill. Certainly does scare the monkey, though. Talisman, a whole lot more than frightened. Maverick beats him down. Solid work so far. Drop off there with the high noon. Doesn't find it. Neither does the fan the hammer. Finally, though, Manually will go down. Mobutu ensures Dion's end as well. Graveyard finds their way onto Headstone. And Maverick begins to gun down Narwhal too. Not too shabby here. Talisman, though, does find Mardox on the back end. Not sure if that's quite worth it, given the game state. Daystar will try to push forward while they have that man advantage. There will be time for a touch. Industrial's got sound barrier ready. Mobutu being kept alive, rather useful. Diva Bomb certainly is as well. You're gonna want for that bubble shield to be down first. Rampage is ready. Bomb's gonna come first though. No kills, just space. Gets the job done though. Diva up top, Narwhal drops Payne Correa down bottom. Maverick flies in, too close for missiles. Switching to guns. Switching to sleep mode instead. Great dart there from the Ana. Sound barrier and the lamp both come out, both to keep Maverick alive, but maybe a bit too much invested. Maverick's dazed. Maverick is out of the mech. Talisman clearing the way for Dion to tear them apart. Finds a quick 3-piece. And it's a team kill for Daystar. First point secured. This is a hell of an offense being mounted by Daystar. Proving that you guys might have one more win than us on the board. But we're looking to correct that. We're looking to show you who really should be in those top 4 slots. Can Artemis hold on? Amp Matrix dropped the lamp as well. Mardox shortly follows. And a sleep dart as well. Mobutu can't keep on their feet. Now you're sleeping for a bit longer. Manually puts him down for a nap. Olo was used, in fact, all the resources from Artemis. Save for that pulse. Maverick beaten down. Fisticuffs. Manually proves that range or up close and personal on the DPS to look at. Rally's ready. Narwhal's been doing a pretty good job just playing the Stalewart support. I love the fact that they're staying by him manually oftentimes, ensuring the Freya safety. Now, second point not even necessary. We're about to reach the threshold. Pain Correa at the bottom. Not sure where they need to be positioned. Behind the point, certainly not the best spot, but you have that pulse. You're nursing that ultimate. Lamp's already used to keep Maverick alive, but Graveyard quickly corrects it. And Narwhal strays forward, says, rally to me. It's a Friday night, baby. Manually going to make sure Pain Correa's evening ends here. And it's going to make sure the map as well does the same. Daystar take it in 2. Rather, at the very least, take it with 2. Manually, once again. I think it's going to be no secret at this point what character we might need to ban. All right, come on now. Don't be lying to me. There we go. Now we're seeing manually. And by the way, guys, none of that's lane bot. It's all manual. That was a great play there from Dion, too. Man, there's a lot that I think resulted in success of Daystar. I think the compositions were favored. I think this D.Va had a hard time mounting any steam. That Matrix naturally has so much less value up against many aspects of that comp, right? Sure, you can eat. You can't eat that mace. You can't eat that bat. You can't eat this lightning. Mabutu getting off the bench, I will say this map I think had a pretty good showing. It's Cole Cassidy. Had some good plays. But nothing comparable to what we've seen so far from manually. Daystar, despite being a win behind, are indeed the team that are favored to win this. So we're just hoping, against hope here on the ILIAD Esports channel, that ARTEMIS are able to put up a good show. So far, we've seen some good fight. You go back to that first map, first round. That was a really solid showing to keep things even. But was that a fluke, or can that be a pattern? That's the question we're all wondering. Third map, man. What do you choose? A difficult question here when you consider that everything could come down to this. It does seem we have a choice. Concrete jungle, where dreams are made of. It's going to be New Junk City. Daystar say there's nothing you can do. ILIAD Artemis say, no sirree. We still got a dog in this fight. We're not just third seed for show. We can also back it up with player skill. But I think is something to be shown in terms of the impact being output by both the backline and the front line, right? These DPS, as well as these supports. Graveyard is, I think, a really, really solid offensive and, of course, defensive contributor to these fights. Ban's coming in. Who's not going to be contributing to the game? Cassidy is what we're taking off the map. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm curious to see if the Freya makes a return. There's certainly not as much high ground here for New Junk. So maybe we won't have to worry about that period. But I don't know, man. You just got 2 MVPs. It's a bit of an issue. If you're Daystar, you're saying, what do we care about at this point? Zarya is apparently the answer. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I think of Maverick, I don't think of Zarya. I think of those hazards. I think of those dive tanks. I think of those Winstons. I think of those divas. Zarya doesn't strike me as something they were looking to play in the first place. Maybe just throwing a ban to the wind there. Daystar say, play who you want. Does not matter. They come in with a cocky sneer. Their chest puffed. Ready to give you a swirly. Well, like any bully story, there must be comeuppance. Artemis, after their training arc, can hopefully find a way back in. Mabutu will be staying by for Artemis. Duck still resting their wings. And now Pain Correa, I was about to say, switching over to the Bastion. Not sure if that was going to be the real call. The Venture instead. Something I'm far more happy with. Maverick, though, on this Mauga. I like that quite a bit. We're by no means in the world of Mauga meta anymore. But I like Maverick on it. I think Maverick is a passive buff playing this guy. It represents the spirit of what I think Maverick likes to do. Run in, stop. Sadly, Industrial is the first one crushed underfoot. A great spike wall as well. Traps in the rest. Maverick, though, does gun down too. Evens the odds. Flashpoint open. But Maverick's focused on the fight. Point will start to be taken by Artemis. And Daystar will not contest. Save for killing Pain Hooray. Watch Maverick here, folks. Maverick's going to be your playmaker nowadays. On this Mauga, has the liberty to step forward, step over you. Dion, recognizing this, switches to the Diva. A bit more peel. Unfortunately, Talisman figures out the solution quickly. Makes short work of that Maverick. Point, contested. Daystar can't quite finish the job. The resistance will slowly be stamped out. Before Pain Corray gets a couple pieces of their own. 50% already guaranteed by Artemis, not too shabby. Anyways, got to be on point with these pulses. We're already seeing it's the case. Graveyard takes down Maverick, who quickly switched off the Malcolm. I'm not gonna lie, I don't necessarily think we necessarily needed to. But I guess in response to the Diva, you want to make sure that your abilities, your bullets, are finding the mark. Violent Leap can't be blocked by that Matrix. Manually, though, says I don't even need the Freya. Anything you can do, I can do better. This Tracer has looked peerless so far. Talisman putting on a similar performance here with the the Genji. But here, shooters mixed up. Don't get it twisted. Ardox has dropped down the Kitsune, and it's a response from Graveyard. 83% already secured by Daystar. Artemis has got to make sure they're not getting lost in the weeds. What are we fighting for? That objective. Pulse Bomb. Blade down. Won't find a mark. Dragon Blade out. Slices into the back of Industrial. But it's only going to chew through the sound barrier. Manually takes down Pain Corray. Maverick slices apart Narwhal. Before Dion makes typical work of the tank afterwards. Even trade so far. A Diva Bomb from Dion. Finds nothing, because Graveyard and Manually have already done the job for you. Point resecured. And no contest ready. First flash goes to Daystar. I think Graveyard is honestly a real big linchpin of why Daystar sees so much success. Support, obviously, it's a tale as old as time. Underestimated role. One that gets a lot of guff, a lot of flack. But on this Kiriko, you land the shots. No one can contest your contributions. Tonic Shocks come out there from Pain Corray. Spacing ultimate, or successful? No, Manually will go down. That's actually incredibly useful. High value. Point's just about open as well. And you deny them the Pulse Bomb. Drilling into that mech like it's tissue paper. Baby Diva gonna be killed in her crib momentarily. Out from the ground, and that's exactly where Dion will be buried. Maverick is also now on this Junker Queen, worth noting. I'd have an easier time trying to pull in this Diva, but no longer a Diva. It changes its face. A Dion will play Hazard now instead. And Narwhal will kill the opposing tank. Point secured so far by Daystar. Artemis, despite that great kill on top of Manually at the beginning, couldn't even find the point. Maverick back on the Mauga. Around and around we go. It's a constant shift. Fluid battle of rock, paper, and scissors. But Daystar, the one slicing them up. Pain Corray now on the Genji. Kitsune Rush now dropped there by both. A good stick. Mabutu takes down Manually nonetheless. Stomp forward. Pain Corray dances with their duo. Comes up with victory. Graveyard dies as well. And Mardox hooks up the commemorative performance there for Graveyard. Point secured there for ILIAD. Couldn't have come sooner. 76 there for Daystar. No ultimates available. Sound barrier is here for ARTEMIS. Crucial. ARTEMIS trying to lay down the pillars, the bricks. What could be the reverse sweep. Sound barrier. Lays down some foundational health. And Mobutu lays down the first kill. Slice in the back. Brings out the baby diva. We got no childcare for you, buddy. Go back to base. Dion, though, does actually manage to take down Maverick before going down. Bankeray. Like a pinball bouncing between these players. Dion takes the easy way out. And ARTEMIS take the lead on the second point. Bankeray and Mobutu have been putting up a legacy performance. The best we've seen them. Down barrier instantly comes out from Narwhal in response to the Dragon Blade. Now Bankeray is in the one in trouble. A dash back from Talisman. Can they remain safe? No. Each Genji's disassembled. Maverick tries to maintain covering fire around that corner. Stomps forward with the Cardiacs. Unfortunately, that heart might not be beating for much longer. Graveyard. The Sugar Rush takes them down, 99 to 99 on the second point. Mobutu, though, cannot stay standing for long. It's going to be taken by Daystar.
Secured.
One last point decides it all. ARTEMIS, you've now been thoroughly on the receiving end of just what you dealt out. If you can't take that heat, you gotta stay out of the kitchen. They're putting on the oven mitts. They say, let me cook. Maverick's heating up at the very least. Industrial Mobutu cold on the ground. This ever-rotating wheel of tanks. Dion back in the winning matchup there with the Diva. And Maverick's got ultimate. Doesn't want to switch off. But you might not have time. Your pride is never worth the game. One ultimate might not be worth the matchup. We'll find out if Maverick can make the cage count. Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming at you. Cardiac overdrive in pocket. And targets found. Kitsune Rush ensures they get speedily to the end. Cage still ready though. Graveyard has no rush either to respond with, but no kills. Talisman lurks beneath. A shark in the wall. Shark with a Dragon Blade. Nothing more terrifying than that. Graveyard pulls out the Kitsune Rush, and the Blade will also follow. Mardox is the first one to drop. Mobutu alongside Industrial hunted down. And Daystar approaches the last 30% needed to secure the sweep. Dion says, you tried, buddy. I think you're the one going into cardiac arrest. Stomp on forward. Your dreams are the ones being shattered. Maverick falls at Talisman's hand. The last percent's about to be secured. ARTEMIS, reach out, put a finger, a toe on the point just to taste what victory might have tasted like. Instead, you'll be served the bitter stench of defeat. Talisman slices apart Mardox and Mobutu, and Daystar come up with the 3-0 map sweep. It's not what you wanted to see if you're an ILIAD esports fan. But in every loss, there are lessons to be had. I think honestly there's just great shows from Graveyard and Manually. Dion also, with that last map, I think had some really good just tactical play around swaps. If you know that your bag is deep, reach in. Let that cat out of the bag. And they had some sharp claws. Fought tooth and nail. ILIAD ARTEMIS certainly put up a hefty effort. but unfortunately just were not able to find their wits and measures to come up with any victories on the maps. And you know, some might call that the karmatic balance of things. It's a fickle game. One day you're king, one day you're at the top of the food chain. Just like in nature, the hunter can become the hunted at a moment's notice. ARTEMIS sadly found that out 2 days ago, chasing down the Caledonian boar. Today she finds out, hold on, that boar's got sharp tusks. To fight back. Taking a look though at the highlights, man, overall, a day of good plays. Both teams certainly have moments they can be proud of. I look back at Payne Correa's start. Had some really solid 1v1s on the Tracer. Mabutu had some solid switches there. The Cole Cassidy on Dorado was not too shabby. The Sombra, though, also had some impressive moments. I just think we were always following the rhythm being set by the opponents. So with that, seeding will certainly be shaken up here. Daystar now can brag and boast a 5-1 record. Very impressive. And I'm sure we'll be seeing great things from them in the future as well. As well, of course, to be said for our friends on ILIAD ARTEMIS. But nonetheless, that is all we're going to have for you here today on ILIAD Esports FaceIt Division Masters Week 6 as we continue in through the season. I've been D'Lo. Thank you all very much for watching. ARTEMIS take down Daystar to the latter. A big fat congratulations to the former. Better luck next time. Looking forward to seeing ya put them up and duke it out a little bit more in the future. Please, of course, make sure to thank our almighty eyes in the sky, Head Rammer and Hippie. We could not yell without our production guys. Please make sure to drop them some gratitudes as well. XYBA Productions, of course. And, of course, also a big thanks to our friend L.A. Smurf for having us here on the ILIAD Esports channel in the first place. Last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed this series just as much as we have. Thank you very much for your time. Keep an eye to the sky for more ILIAD Esports content coming at you in the future. Until then, good games and good night.